Welcome into today's show. I am Will Scott here on Saints Now. Going to be joined by producer Trace Girouard in a second. On today's show, we're going to be talking about some trade targets for the Saints ahead of the November 1st deadline. A lot of trade rumors to discuss here today. If you want the Saints to make a trade, which they need to do something right, it's been a terrible start to the season. Go down, like the video, hit the thumbs up icon if you want Mickey Loomis and company to make a deal here at the deadline. And we begin talking about Kareem Hunt, the running back from the Cleveland Browns, a name we have discussed here on Saints Now before. He is being shopped, according to Brad Stainbrook. Browns are listening to offers on running back Kareem Hunt per a league source. So the Browns have said before they're not really interested in trading Hunt. We heard a lot of rumors in the offseason, but now, about a week out, the Browns are 2-5. They're, have a long shot at a playoff, but at this point, they're going to shop Kareem Hunt, who's set to be a free agent next year. Taking a look at what he's done this season: 16 carries, 263 yards, 15 receptions, 87 receiving yards, 4 total touchdowns this season for Hunt. He would add to a really good, running back room you have in New Orleans. He can get better behind Alvin Kamara for sure. Got Tyler Huntley, the first quarterback we are going to discuss today. The backup quarterback for the Ravens. Here's what he's done in his career. He did look very good this preseason. That's worth noting. 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 picks in his career. He's one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league. I'd love to see what he can do in black and gold. And you got to think if the Saints were to offer something attractive to the Ravens, that they would at least consider it, Trace.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about Tyler Huntley is he does have an ability to beat you on the ground as well. And like a lot of people liked the idea of maybe getting a mobile quarterback or trading for a mobile quarterback or signing a mobile quarterback. And Tyler Huntley, he has a very good talent on the ground. He has 57 carries in his career, 317 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, which is not bad at all as a quarterback, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, not bad for a backup quarterback. Like you said, Will, and I honestly agree with this take as well. I think that he could bring a lot of value to the team. I would like to see what he could do, but there is a lot of mystery behind him, and I think that the Ravens are pretty comfortable with him being their QB2 behind Lamar Jackson. Having 2 pretty mobile and pretty quality quarterbacks is not a bad situation for any team, honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a dual threat and would maybe fit well with what the Saints are looking to do on offense,
and I'm
more so than Jameis and Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also interested to say, sorry for interrupting, I'm also interested to see how maybe what the Ravens do during the offseason as Lamar's going to hit free agency potentially.
Right.
If they extend him,
they'll tag Lamar.
Yeah.
They'll tag Lamar, and they might trade Lamar.
Okay.
If Lamar makes it clear and they make it clear they're not going to extend him long term, that's something to monitor as well for the Saints if they need a quarterback this offseason. If you want the Saints to make a move at QB, hit the thumbs up icon, like the video if you want the Saints to make a move at QB. They got to do something, man. I just don't think Jameis is the guy, and Andy Dalton certainly is not the guy. Maybe Robert Quinn can be the guy the Saints trade for at the trade deadline. I don't know if the Bears would be willing to shop him at this point. That was a huge win for Chicago last night to kind of keep their season alive. 8 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 QB hit this season for Quinn. Certainly a trade target here at the deadline. He would make any defense a lot better, and Brandin Cooks of the Texans would make any offense a lot better. And a lot of people thought Cooks was going to be traded in the offseason. They actually signed him to an extension instead, a 2-year extension. They did not trade him, but the Saints season, or I should say the Texans season, it's kind of out of reach in terms of a playoff spot at this point. They're 1-4-1. Davis Mills, a lot of question marks around him at QB. I think a big reason they did not trade Cooks was to help out Davis Mills, but I don't think that Davis Mills is going to be the guy going forward in Houston. I think they're probably going to draft a quarterback because they're probably going to have 2 top 5 picks. Ian Rappaport tweeted this earlier this week. Big-name wide receivers generating trade interest. Brandin Cooks has been the target of multiple calls, so is Chase Claypool. Not expected to get a deal done, though. And then Jerry Jeudy has been the center of calls as well. So 3 receivers that Ian Rappaport is linking here in NFL trade rumors. That includes Brandin Cooks. He's been one of the more underrated wide receivers in the league. Had a great season last year in Houston. Hasn't had quite the same production so far this season, but he's still a great player. Has 6 1,000-yard seasons in his career, and he's not someone we talk about as being one of the better wideouts in the league, but he's remained one of the more consistent wideouts in the league, which is why I really like him. Do you want to bring him to New Orleans? Type T for trade or type P for pass. Down in the comments section, go down. Let me know what you think. Should the Saints bring Brandin Cooks back to New Orleans? Taking a look now at William Jackson. I think of all the 5 names on this list, William Jackson has the greatest likelihood to get traded before the deadline. He wants out. Washington has won 2 straight games, if you can believe it or not, so maybe they have a decision to make whether to be buyers or sellers here at the deadline. 16 tackles, 2 pass breakups, 1 tackle for loss. He just needs a fresh start, man. I mean, he hasn't been great since signing that long-term deal with the Commanders. He wants to be traded. He's denied that he wants to be traded to the media, but all the reports are that he wants out of Washington. And can you blame him? The Commanders the last couple of years have just kind of been a shit show. If the Saints make a trade, we got you covered. I can promise you that. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers as well. Look, regardless of where we are at, me and producer Trace, the Saints make a move, we're going to get you guys a vid. Go down and subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so you know when we put out a video. Talking now about Jerry Jeudy, the Broncos wide receiver. As Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport have mentioned this week, he has been the center of trade calls as well, but would the Broncos be willing to move him? Denver is 2-5. They might be sellers at the deadline, surprisingly. They were supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, so much for that. Russell Wilson's too worried about Subway. Jerry Jeudy, look, year by year, he's been a good player. Just 10 games played last season, though, 367 yards, former first-round pick. Still looking for his first touchdown this season. I really like Jeudy, but the Saints right now, if Michael Thomas can come back healthy, which is a big if, they're kind of set at wide receiver. But if MT has, a long-term, if he's out long-term, then maybe you trade for Jeudy. Or maybe you trade for Darius Slayton as well. He would certainly be a lot cheaper than Jerry Jeudy would be. The Giants wide receiver has also been in some trade rumors, and the pros and cons of trading for him are, he's not as good as a guy like Jeudy, but he's also much cheaper. Here we go. A lot of y'all probably clicked on the video for this name. Mac Jones is next on our list here. There is a quarterback controversy in New England. He got benched in last night's game for Bailey Zappe. Zappe looked great in the first half, kind of struggled in the second half, though, taking a look at what they've done this season. I mean, Mac Jones has not been good this year. 2 touchdowns, 6 picks, 65% completion percentage. Bailey Zappe is 2-0 as the starter. Mac Jones, meanwhile, 1-3 as the starter in New England this season. 1-4, actually, as the starter in New England this season. Producer Trace, your thoughts here, man.
All right, I'm not going to get too crazy with this because I promised I wouldn't. I don't think that a trade is extremely likely to New Orleans because there's a lot of assets that are going to be required to get Mac Jones being a first-round pick.
I don't know about
but if anybody can make it happen, I think Mickey Loomis is the guy who can do it. I think he could manage to make something work. I think he can throw some picks away, throw a couple players their way. I don't know. I would at least say, hey, Billy, get on the phone, say, hey, what's up, Billy? What you asking for? Like, what do you want? Just out of curiosity. Just see. I'm curious, I don't know. I was very big on Jameis Winston. I was the first guy to say Jameis Winston is the man. The minute I walked into the office, everyone started making fun of me because I was talking about I kind of want Mac Jones to the Saints. I don't know. Maybe it works. Maybe it makes sense. All I'm saying, though, we were talking about this before we filmed. He doesn't like the cold. Maybe you bring him back to the south where it's a little bit warm, a little humid. He's a Jacksonville boy.
I will say this, Trace. I'll say this. If Bailey Zappe had not played so poorly in the second half, Patriots had won that game, I think it's more likely Mac Jones gets traded before the deadline. You only have a week till the deadline. The Patriots are not going to trade a former first-round pick they drafted just last year that was a Pro Bowler. Probably didn't deserve to be a Pro Bowler, but was a Pro Bowler. last year. They're not going to trade that away because Bailey Zappe is not proven enough.
Exactly.
If he had won last night, if he had won again next week, it'd be a little more interesting. I think it's more likely an off-season trade with the Patriots if Bailey Zappe ends up being the guy over there.
Something to monitor, though.
Right.
Something we will definitely keep an eye out, so be sure to subscribe.
The Saints are going to be one of the teams in the quarterback hunt this offseason potentially, probably with the Carolina Panthers. If Mac Jones, if they gave him the choice to go to New Orleans or Carolina, where do you think he would go?
Choice.
Where do you think he would go? Exactly. Guys, pick a QB. Type MJ for Mac Jones or type Jameis or type JW for Jameis Winston down in the comments section. You know that song by Mike Jones called Mike Jones? You can ride all day long, but you'll never find Mr. Jones. Hey, Mac Jones to New Orleans. They're going to be bopping that at the Superdome if they make this trade. I love Mike Jones. I'm from Houston. I'm still tipping on 4-4s. Going to Grady Williams now. He is an LSU guy. It'd be fun to bring him back to the boot. The Browns corner is in trade talks as well. The Browns likely to be sellers at the deadline because they're 2-5. Jacoby Brissett has been a disaster. Who could have seen that coming? But the Browns are shopping Grady Williams right now, and he is a great player. I think a lot of us probably pretty familiar with him because of his LSU ties, obviously. He does have some injury issues. It's the last year of his rookie contract. I say make this trade if you're New Orleans. Improve the secondary. The defense in general has been a little bit disappointing this season, which has been surprising. I get it. You trade away Ceedee. You trade away Marcus Williams as well.
Marcus Williams was lost in free agency. I made that mistake yesterday, and I wanted to correct it because I misspoke yesterday as well.
Yes, Marcus Williams lost in free agency, but Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, Justin Evans, Alante Taylor, Bradley Roby. It's a solid corner room overall. But if you can get Grady for cheap, he's had to be, he's on the last year of his deal, then I say you do it. Bring him home to the boot, man. Go Tigers. Cam Akers, last on our list here, running back for the Rams. He's been in a lot of trade talk as well. 151 yards this season, 51 carries, 1 touchdown for Akers this season. The running back out of Florida State. I think it's possible he gets traded. I really do. I get it. The Rams are, obviously wanting to compete for a Super Bowl again, but Cam Akers has been a little bit disappointing for them this season. Guys, if you're a real one, you made it to the end of this video, and you want a shout-out. So go down, type real one for a chance to get a shout-out on a future show. We appreciate all you tuning in. Mac Jones to the boot. Might have to wait till the offseason, but I think it's possible.